I will soon be taking the ECM-S1 apart down to the smallest detail on this channel, but that is now definitely beyond the scope of. Welcome to a new S-Lab video with 3 recently released microphones: ECM-S1, ECM-W3 and ECM-W3S. Sony has taken the right path. The audio technology presented is constantly digitally transferred via Sony's very own multi-interface shoe and yet flexible, because the integrated wireless connection allows the microphones to be positioned anywhere in space. But recently some other exciting microphones have been released for the Sony camera universe that are also worthy of note. This video is designed to give you a detailed overview of Sony's current microphone lineup. In future videos, I will go even more into details of each individual microphone. You can then find these reviews via my constantly expanding playlist for direct microphone comparison. The latest Sony microphone equipment connects wirelessly via the so-called multi-interface shoe, with all those Sony cameras equipped with such type of connection. To keep it simple, these are almost all Sony cameras that have been manufactured during the recent years. For the sake of clarity, I'm not going to dive into Sony's professional wireless systems from the UWP or URX series, and I will also skip some classics such as the ECM-G60 up to the ECM-W3 BT, although these may possibly also be an interesting option for one or the other. In typical Sony fashion, you can find a complete overview via business and products, consumer electronics, imaging, all accessories, microphones on the very Sony website itself. But be careful, if you select too precisely, then the most recent microphones are going to disappear. Otherwise, just use the link provided in the video description below, without putting you on the rack any longer by asking you to like or subscribe in case you like the video, or why not? I introduce you to the latest and most relevant microphones from the XLR and ECM series, so that you can quickly make an informed decision. The XLR K3M adapter kit in this regard is a stranger, but nevertheless it consists of a super directional shotgun microphone called ECM-M1, as well as a control module mounted on a joint with mechanical noise reduction. As the name suggests, the XLR K3M has 2 separate XLR-TRS combo inputs, flexible mounting options, and extensive manual controls depending on the length of the XLR cables used. There is a certain degree of flexibility regarding the positioning of the microphone in a recording scenario, but still the nature of these cables appear to be wired, unless you happen to own an additional wireless XLR remote connector. With the most obvious out of the way, the XLR K3M adapter kit still offers many options in terms of compatibility with other systems. The other functions are a standard for interfaces on professional video cameras. Sony offers an optional low-cut filter at 100 and 300 Hz for input 1 and 2, attenuation against external noise at -10 and -20 dB. Both XLR inputs can be switched between line and mic level, and also provide an optional 48-volt phantom power supply for condenser microphones. Both XLR inputs can be controlled either separately or linked, both automatically and manual as well. Automatic and manual level control of the input signal is also available for the third input, an aux input, which has not been yet mentioned. The ECM-B1M, like its little brother or sister, the ECM-B1O, offers superdirectional, unidirectional and omnidirectional polar patterns. If the Sony terminology appears a little unusual to you, superdirectional stands for the classic supercardioid, unidirectional for the classic cardioid, and omnidirectional for a classic circular polar pattern, which is oriented equally in all directions. Both microphones, the B1M and the B10, are so-called advanced shotgun microphones, but the microphone capsules are not installed in a tube, as it is the convention with other shotgun microphones. Instead, 8 or 4 microphone capsules lie flat on behind each other. The respective directional characteristic is created by connecting and interpreting the microphone capsules differently in relation to each other. This is done by the circuits inside the microphones themselves. In the best case scenario, of course, these microphones should only be used with the supplied windscreen elements when using them outdoors. Both microphones can be operated in digital and analog mode as well. However, not all Sony cameras on the market are suitable for seamless digital transmission. Depending on the camera model connected via the multi-interface shoe, it is possible that, for example, the recording level can only be controlled via the hardware on the microphone, or that instead of digital data transmission, only analog data transmission between the microphone and the camera can be applied. Nevertheless, in all these cases, data is transferred exclusively via the multi-interface shoe. All other available functions that you can see here are standard for most contemporary microphones. I have already mentioned the 3 different directional characteristics. Sony offers a low-pass filter and a noise suppression. The sensitivity towards external noise can be reduced by either 10 or 20 decibel, and the noise level can be adjusted automatically or manually. Especially when it comes to recording dialogue in front of the camera, Sony seems to have delivered a powerful tool with the automatic noise level adjustment availability inside these 2 microphones. If you are interested in a detailed explanation of all these functions, please leave a comment, then I would be happy to create a detailed video soon. The ECM-G1 is by far the most affordable of the current range of Sony microphones that I am comparing in this video. Same as all the other microphones, it is equipped with a multi-interface hot shoe and an articulated vibration damping joint. The ECM-G1 does not offer any further adjustment options via its hardware. Of course, the input sensitivity can still be adjusted via the internal menus of the Sony camera of your choice. The capsule built into the microphone produces the characteristic of a superdirectional hypercardioid, which is specially designed to record sounds originating from the front of the camera. I'm going to share a little aspect of the screen to you. The power supply for the ECM-G1 is ensured by the connection to the battery of the Sony camera itself via the multi-interface shoe. The ECM-G1 can additionally be connected to other devices using a TRS cable as well. Although we have to agree with a limited range of functions compared to the other microphones, the ECM-G1 is not only inexpensive but also extremely lightweight and compact. In best case scenario, this means you may always have it with you, and therefore it can be used in every conceivable situation. The ECM-M1 is more than twice as expensive as the ECM-G1, but it has a few extra features that put the ECM-G1 in the shade. In terms of surface architecture, the ECM-M1 reminds me a lot of the 3-capsule microphone built into Sony's relatively new ZV-E1 full-frame camera, except the ECM-M1 has 4 capsules instead of just 3. This allows us to pick up even more differentiated directional space ambiances than is already possible with the ZV-E1. Thanks to these 4 symmetrically distributed microphone capsules on the surface of the ECM-M1, you can select between no less than 8 different directional characteristics. In contrast to all the other microphones, here we are not only confronted with various static polar patterns in the classic sense, but there is also a dynamic ultra-directional mode available, which Sony alternatively refers to as adaptive beam forming. In ultra-directional mode, sounds within a range of around 30 degrees in front of the device can be detected as target sounds, while the algorithm effectively reduces unwanted noise emitting from the nearby surroundings of the target sound. I will try to illustrate exactly how this works in one of the following videos. While we're on the subject, please donate this video a like and follow the channel in case you find everything useful so far. By the way, with all these compatible camera models from Sony, the hot shoe ensures seamless digital signal processing from the microphone up until the final recording taking place in the camera. Of course, this digital processing then also continues via the video editing suite or DAW of your choice, as well as through the post-production and mastering of the final product, which may again be streamed digitally. The only very last piece of music or sound which then flies out of the audience's loudspeakers or headphones at the very end, knocking on heaven's door, knocking on the membranes of the audience's eardrums. This last little piece is then analog again. A few analog sound waves are still left over, or at least their simulation in a universe that perhaps itself is only a digital simulation. But that would be a topic for another video under the motto "And now for something completely different." As with most of the microphones presented so far, the ECM-M1 also offers a low-cut or noise-cancelling filter, as well as an attenuation of the audio signal of -10 or -20 decibel. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, the ECM-M1 can be used with suitable cameras to record omnidirectional backup recordings on additional audio channels within the camera, in addition to the pre-selected directional characteristics on the microphone itself. Therefore, you can investigate which cameras are compatible here via the Sony website directly or via the link provided below the video. As with the ECM-B10 and B1M, it is possible to switch between analog and digital signal transmission depending on the compatibility on the side of the microphone to the right of the camera controls, depending on compatibility. In contrast to the ECM-W3S, the ECM-W3 has not just only one transmitter, but 2, so that 2 interview partners can be registered simultaneously on 2 separate channels, or also be mixed together on a combined stereo channel via a radio link. This approach is not really innovative or unique in 2023, especially as similar products are already available from numerous other producers. Nevertheless, Sony has gone one step further here, as the direct integration of this technology into the proprietary multi-interface shoe means that no additional cabling is required. What's more, the recorded audio signal is transmitted directly and digitally by radio waves from the transmitter to the receiver being plugged into the hot shoe, and from there directly and still digitally into the camera. The supplied battery case, which surprisingly, unlike other manufacturers, is not only available for the ECM-W3 but also for the ECM-W3S, can be used to charge the transmitter and receiver while on the move. An additional audio input on the transmitters can be used to connect lavalier microphones as an alternative to the omnidirectional microphones built into the transmitters themselves. The audio input on the receiver can be used to send the signal to other devices which are not equipped with a multi-interface shoe connection whatsoever. Now to the crown of creation, the ECM-S1, with which I recorded all the explanations in this video. The S1 is connected directly to the multi-interface shoe of the A6700 via the integrated radio link, but this would work as well on the Sony A7 IV, which is filming me from the corner back there. I will soon be taking the ECM-S1 apart down to the smallest detail on this channel, but that is now definitely beyond the scope of this video. So please follow my channel in case you are interested. Essentially, the S1 is identical to the range of functions mentioned above in reference to the ECM-W3 and W3S, but with significant differences regarding the microphone capsules themselves and, of course, the design. Unfortunately, there is no audio input on the ECM-S1 to connect lavalier microphones. Instead, the microphone unit offers a USB-C port which can be used to directly enter digital input into other systems and machines. In contrast to the concept of safety and attenuation functions by recording an optional additional take of a 20 decibel lower backup track on the ECM-W3, Sony has opted for a completely analog leveling of the input signals with visual feedback utilizing LEDs on the microphone unit itself. A slide switch can be used to select a cardioid and omnidirectional polar pattern as well as a stereo polar pattern. Different directional characteristics are generated by different interpretations of three 14mm microphone capsules built into the microphone. 14mm, then it would definitely be interesting to produce a direct comparison with the ECM-G1. As soon as I have completed this, you will certainly find it in my constantly expanding playlist for direct microphone comparisons, which I already referred to at the beginning of this video. Back to the ECM-S1. This microphone unit can be fixed in space using the swivel table stand supplied, or alternatively via the Q20 camera mount embedded in the housing. For close-up recordings, an optional click-on pop protection is supplied to prevent plosive sounds. Plosive sounds. I'm going to examine in detail how effective the pop filter actually works in my specific video about the S1, which will be available soon. In case the ECM-S1 is connected directly to a computer via USB-C, it is also possible to control the input signal using the headphone output built directly into the microphone itself, as well as using the rotary knob at the bottom to create an optimum mix ratio between the given input signal and the audio signals fed from the computer at the same time. In addition, as also with the ECM-W3, you are of course free to connect alien devices such as audio recorders or even telephone through USB-C. Last but not least, I hope this detailed overview of the current range of Sony microphones compatible with the multi-interface shoe has helped you a lot. I look forward to your opinion on this offensive by Sony in a market where quite a few manufacturers are currently turning their attention to the topic of excellent picture and sound. Would the convenience of being able to operate without a few extra cables be worth the remarkable price difference compared to other companies? I'm curious to hear what you think. Thank you for your concentrated attention, and I hope to see you soon.